Struggling to memorize your lyrics? Here are 4 tips to help you memorize like a pro. So these are 4 tips that I use as a professional vocal artist myself and as a musical theater performer, and it's what I teach my students as well. I know that these work because I've seen them work on me and I've seen it work on them. The 4 tips are write them up, break them up, color code, and practice. Hello, my name is Onyie, and I've been professionally teaching private voice on and off for around 18 years. Tip number 1, write them up. So even if you have your lyrics printed out for you, make sure you rewrite them in your own handwriting. There is a science to the connection between writing things down and memorizing them. So it helps a ton to rewrite, even though you have it already printed out, rewrite your lyrics for yourself. Another thing that I do when I rewrite my lyrics is, rhythmically speaking, I will write things down the way I rhythmically understand the song. So for instance, let's say we're doing row, row, row your boat. Maybe you might see the lyric on a sheet and it's just written row, row, row your boat gently down the stream as a full sentence, because it is. When I'm rewriting it, I might rewrite it as row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, because that's how I think of it in my head and that's how I sing it rhythmically in my body. So when I'm reading it, I'm going to want to read it the way I understand the music, if that makes sense. In order to have the lyrics look like what I hear and the way I sing them, I will write them in essentially the rhythm that I understand them, just so it's easier to memorize. But also, even if you have your lyrics on stage with you, it's easier to read them in real time when they're written the way you would sing them. I have been through so many situations where I didn't rewrite the lyrics and I just used the printed ones, and they weren't printed in a way that makes sense rhythmically, and I would fumble on stage in real time in front of people not because I couldn't read, but because the lyrics were written in such a way that it didn't make sense by way of how it's scanned. Absolutely rewrite your lyrics, but then also write them the way you sing them. Tip number 2, break them up. When I say break them up, I just mean, again, you can rewrite them and just break them up in chunks so that they're easier to digest as you are learning the lyrics. When you're trying to memorize, the worst thing you can try to do is just barrel through the whole thing and try to memorize it in one go, or even in several goes from the top to the bottom. You want to make sure you take it chunk by chunk by chunk. And when you break it up like that, then you can just make sure that you focus on one chunk at a time as you begin to memorize those lyrics. So if I start with one chunk, what I will do is what I call my rule of 7, which is to make sure I learn that part to where I can do it 7 times in a row, off book, memorized perfectly before I move on. For instance, if I'm doing row, row, row your boat, I will start with row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. That's my first chunk. Okay. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Now, if I get to the 3rd time and I go row, row gently, boat, row your boat, I have to go back to the first, and I have to do it 7 times perfectly before I will move on. Now, that might sound like, my good God, that is tedious and that is a lot. Fair enough. But I promise you, by the time you are able to do it 7 times in a row, it is in you. You've got it memorized. So try it out. Tip number 3. Use colors. This tip kind of combines both 1 and 2. With colors, I will maybe write all of my lyrics out in colors using different colors for each chunk. So again, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, I might write in blue pen, and then merrily, 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 life is but a dream, I might write in red pen. So again, just helping myself understand it chunk by chunk, but also using the color coding to help really get it into my mind and get it memorized. The other side of that is using highlighter. I love to use highlighter when I'm trying to memorize lyrics. So I might break up the chunks again and just use different colors per verse, per chorus, per whatever chunk makes it easier for me to understand and memorize that section or that part of the lyrics. Certain techniques like that will help you retain the visual, which will also help you remember the lyrics. I personally am very visual when it comes to learning, and it helps me really hold on to the picture or the image of the lyric by having colors and things like that. I tend to just remember it even by the way I see it on the page. So my memory of the lyrics will be literally the red color or the green color and the way I wrote it, and all those things will then help me remember these lyrics. And lastly, tip number 4, practice. And I know that kind of goes without saying, but I think sometimes we forget that we need to make time to practice. We know we need to do it, and we'll say, yeah, I'm going to practice. But it's a very different thing to say, okay, I'm going to practice at this time on this day, and I'm going to make this time for practicing memorizing these lyrics. That's what this time is for. I'm not just going to blow through the song and continue to try to learn the notes or try to figure things out or what have you. I am going to spend this time memorizing these lyrics. That's the best way to practice, and that way you're going to be for sure taking that time to do this and be able to actually focus on that being the goal of that practice session without worrying about, oh, there's all these other things I need to do. You set this time aside specifically just to practice this, just to memorize your lyrics. And you should do so when you know you can do that. So make sure you're not giving yourself like 5 minutes in the middle of lunch to try to do this. You want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in the position to have to fight distractions while you're essentially supposed to be focusing on practicing. So choose a time that is reasonable and realistic when you can truly focus without distraction, and make it about memorizing and nothing else. And you'll feel a lot freer to really take that time. It'll be a lot easier to memorize these things and a lot more effective. And as I always say, be graceful with yourself. You know it's going to take time, and you know you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You know it has to happen that way to get good at this. So let yourself trip on your words over and over again, keep getting it wrong, have to go back and start again with the top of your 7 rounds of whatever you're doing. Be very graceful with yourself, but recognize that as you do that, it will get better. So try out some or all of these tips and see what works for you, and give yourself time to figure that out. And please leave a comment if any of this helped you, or if you have more questions, for sure, please leave them in the comments. I will respond. I always do. Also, if you have any ideas for other videos I should do, please leave them in the comments as well. Thank you for swinging by. Thank you for investing your time and watching till the end. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for coming by, and happy singing. Bye. Here we go. Okay. Struggling to memorize your lyrics? I've got some quick tips. Struggling to memorize lyrics? Here's 4 quick tips to help you memorize like a pro. Yes. All right. That's that. That was super quick. I feel like that's going to be a under 10-minute video. Well, we shall see. Doing shows while trying to also do this thing is something else. I'm learning now. And yeah. But I'm excited because I want to do both. I want to be able to do the full-time YouTube thing, but also still perform, so that means I need to learn how to do that. But also, I love the fact that I teach from a place of experience because I'm literally experiencing it with you all now. Like, I'm also having to memorize stuff right now, and I'm having to do all the things that I teach you all to do because I'm still doing it as a part of my job too. So I love that. And I love both of them. I love singing and I love teaching. And so can I do both? Let's see. Wait, I already said bye. Okay, what am I doing? Who am I even talking to?